When was the last time someone asked you to do something and you actually wanted to say no? Not couldn't say no, not shouldn't say no. You wanted to. The word was right there, and then something stopped you. What was that? I'm 68 years old, and I've spent decades studying that moment, that split second where you abandon yourself to make someone else comfortable. What I discovered isn't flattering, but it might explain why you're exhausted in a way that sleep never fixes. You know this person. Maybe you work with them, maybe you're married to them, maybe, and this is what we're really here to discuss, maybe you are them. They're the one who says yes to every request, the one who cancels their own plans to accommodate someone else's, the one who answers emails at midnight, not because they want to, but because they can't bear the thought of disappointing anyone. Watch them closely. When someone asks them for something, there's a moment, barely perceptible, where something flickers across their face. It's not enthusiasm, it's closer to resignation. And then the smile appears, the helpful smile, the accommodating smile. Of course, no problem, happy to help. But here's what you don't see. Later that night, lying in bed, they're not thinking about how good it felt to help. They're rehearsing what they should have said. They're building a case for why their own needs mattered, a case they will never present to anyone. And the next day, they do it all again. I've spent decades watching this pattern, in boardrooms, in marriages, in my own mirror, if I'm honest. And what I've come to understand is that this isn't about being nice, it's about being terrified. Let me tell you something that might be difficult to hear. The person who can't say no is, at their core, a liar. Not a malicious liar, not someone trying to deceive for personal gain. Something far more complicated. They're lying to survive. And the lie began a very long time ago. Somewhere in your history, usually before you were old enough to understand what was happening, you learned a devastating lesson. Your authentic self was not acceptable. Your real feelings, your actual needs, your honest opinions, these were threats. Maybe your father had a temper that erupted without warning. Disagreeing with him wasn't a discussion, it was a declaration of war. Maybe your mother's love felt conditional, withdrawn the moment you stepped out of line. Maybe someone in your house was fragile, depressed, barely holding on, and you understood without anyone telling you that your job was to not add to their burden. So you adapted. You became exquisitely skilled at reading rooms, at sensing what people wanted before they asked, at making yourself small, agreeable, useful. You learned that safety came from one thing and one thing only, making others comfortable. And here's the cruel irony. The strategy worked. It kept you safe. It got you through childhood. Maybe it even helped you succeed professionally. People pleasers often rise quickly because they're so damn easy to work with, but the strategy that saved you as a child is now destroying you as an adult because you're still operating from that old programming. Every time your boss asks you to take on another project, a part of you becomes 7 years old again, terrified of what happens if you say no. Every time your partner expresses disappointment, something ancient in you screams, danger, danger, fix this immediately. You're not responding to what's actually happening. You're responding to what happened decades ago in a house you no longer live in, with people who may no longer even be alive. And the person in front of you, your colleague, your spouse, your friend, they're not your mother, they're not your father. Most of them can handle hearing no. Most of them can tolerate a moment of disappointment. But you can't take that risk because you never learned that you could. Let me show you how this actually operates in daily life. There are patterns within the pattern, and recognizing them is the first step toward understanding what's really driving you. The first pattern, preemptive accommodation. You don't wait to be asked. You anticipate. You sense that someone might need something, and you offer it before they can even form the request. This way, you control the narrative. You're not saying yes because you were asked. You're saying yes because you volunteered. It feels generous, noble even. But what it really is, it's a defense mechanism. If you volunteer, you never have to face the moment of being asked and having to choose. You've eliminated the terrifying fork in the road where you might, God forbid, have to decline. I had a client years ago, successful executive, ran a $100 million division. She would schedule meetings around her team's personal calendars, rearranging her entire week so no one would be inconvenienced. She thought she was being a great leader. What she was actually doing was ensuring she never had to ask anyone to accommodate her. because asking for accommodation, that felt like being a burden. And being a burden somewhere deep in her history was the one unforgivable sin. The second pattern, the quick forgiveness trap. Someone wrongs you, dismisses your opinion, takes credit for your work, says something cruel, and within hours, sometimes minutes, you've forgiven them. You've explained away their behavior. You've moved on. They're under a lot of stress. They didn't mean it that way. It's not that big a deal. But it was a big deal to you. And by forgiving instantly, you've done something insidious. You've told yourself that your pain doesn't matter, that your feelings aren't worth holding space for, that the relationship is more important than your own experience of being hurt. And here's what happens next. The person who wronged you, they learn something. They learn that you will absorb whatever they dish out and come back for more. Your quick forgiveness isn't grace, it's an invitation. If you're recognizing yourself in these patterns, subscribe. I share insights like this every week, the kind most people won't tell you. The third pattern, the internal prosecution. You rarely get angry at others, but you are brutal with yourself. Every mistake replays on loop. Every imperfection is examined under harsh light. The criticism you would never dream of directing at another person, you direct at yourself hourly. This isn't coincidence. The rage has to go somewhere. The frustration you feel at constantly abandoning your own needs, at saying yes when you mean no, at shrinking yourself to fit other people's comfort zones, that frustration doesn't disappear. It just turns inward. You become your own harshest critic because you've made everyone else exempt from criticism. And over time, this creates something corrosive, a deep, abiding sense that you are fundamentally not good enough. Not because it's true, but because you've been absorbing your own unexpressed anger for years. The fourth pattern, the exhaustion collapse. Every few months, maybe every few weeks, you hit a wall. Complete exhaustion. You cancel everything. You withdraw, maybe you get sick, and there's part of you that's almost relieved because now you have permission to rest. This is the people pleaser's pressure valve. You give and give and give until there's nothing left, and then your body forces you to stop. You don't choose to rest, you collapse into it. And even then, lying there depleted, you feel guilty. You worry about the people you're letting down. You calculate how quickly you can recover and get back to being useful. The cycle repeats. Because you've never learned that rest is something you're allowed to choose, it's only something you're permitted when you have absolutely nothing left to give. Let me tell you what happens if you continue down this road. I've seen it, I've lived parts of it, and I need you to understand what's actually at stake. You will become a stranger to yourself. When you spend decades molding yourself to others' expectations, something happens to your sense of self. It atrophies. Ask a chronic people pleaser what they actually want, not what would make others happy, and watch them struggle. Often they genuinely don't know. What's your favorite restaurant? I don't know. Where would you like to go? What do you want to do this weekend? I don't know. What do you want to do? This isn't indecisiveness. This is identity erosion. You've spent so long anticipating others' desires that your own have become unfamiliar, suspicious even, something to be overridden rather than honored. You will attract those who exploit you. Here's an uncomfortable truth. People pleasers often end up surrounded by takers, not because they're unlucky, because they signal in 1,000 small ways that they will tolerate being taken from. The narcissist, the manipulator, the chronically self-absorbed, these people have radar for someone who won't push back. And when they find you, when they realize that your need for approval is stronger than your need for respect, they stay, and you'll make excuses for them. You'll explain their behavior. You'll give them chance after chance after chance. Meanwhile, the healthy people, the ones who would treat you as an equal, they often drift away, not because they don't care, because they can sense that you're not actually showing up authentically, that there's a performance happening, and healthy people want real connection, not a pleasing facade. You will lose the people who matter most. This is the one that haunts me. I watched a man, brilliant, successful, someone I admired, spend his entire life being the perfect provider. Never complained, never asked for anything. Worked himself to the bone for his family. At his funeral, his daughter said something I'll never forget. She said, "I wish I had known who he really was. He was always so busy taking care of us that I never got to just know him." He was there for every recital, every graduation, every milestone, but he was never there. He was performing fatherhood, not living it, and his children knew the performance. They never knew the man. That's the cost nobody tells you about. In trying to be everything to everyone, you become nothing to anyone, including yourself. Your body will keep the score. Chronic stress, autoimmune disorders, mysterious aches that have no clear cause. Ask any physician who treats high-achieving professionals, and they'll tell you the people who can't say no often have bodies that are screaming what their mouths won't speak. Your unexpressed resentment doesn't disappear. It lodges in your shoulders, your gut, your immune system. It manifests as insomnia, as teeth grinding, as the kind of exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. You're not just burning out psychologically, you're burning out physically. And unlike a project you can delegate, you only get one body. I'm not going to give you a 5-step program. That's not what this is. What I can offer is something I've learned through decades of observation and more personal mistakes than I care to count. First, understand that no is not violence. The people around you, the ones worth keeping, can survive your boundaries. They will not crumble. They will not abandon you. Most of them, frankly, will respect you more. I know this sounds simple. It's not. Your nervous system has been trained to interpret boundary setting as danger. When you say no, your body will flood with anxiety. Your mind will invent catastrophes. Let it. Feel the discomfort and do it anyway. The anxiety is a false alarm, an alarm system calibrated to threats that no longer exist. Second, practice small discomforts. Don't start by telling your boss no to a major project. Start by telling the waiter that your steak is overcooked. Start by not answering a text immediately. Start by letting someone be slightly disappointed in you and noticing that the world continues to turn. You're not trying to become selfish. You're trying to recalibrate. You've spent years erring too far in one direction. A small correction feels dramatic, but it's not. Third, grieve what this cost you. This part is harder than it sounds. When you start to set boundaries, when you start to honor your own needs, you'll realize how long you went without doing so. You'll see all the years you spent shrinking, the relationships you stayed in too long, the opportunities you didn't pursue because someone else needed you. That grief is appropriate. Don't rush past it. Don't immediately try to fix it or make meaning from it. Fourth, accept that some people will not adjust. When you change the rules of engagement, some people will resist. They liked you better when you were compliant. They benefited from your lack of boundaries. Your evolution is inconvenient for them. Let them go if they must, not with anger, not with self-righteousness, just with the quiet recognition that you are no longer available to play the role they needed you to play. The ones who matter will adapt. They'll be surprised maybe, confused perhaps, but they'll adapt. And the relationship will deepen because finally, they're meeting the real you. I'm 68 years old, and if there's one thing I know with certainty, it's this. The world is full of people who will happily take everything you're willing to give. They will take your time, your energy, your attention, your very self. Not because they're evil, but because you offered it. And you cannot blame them for accepting what was freely given. The question isn't whether other people will respect your boundaries. They'll follow your lead. They always have. The question is whether you will finally believe, truly believe, that you're worth protecting. Not the version of you that says yes to everything. Not the version that's useful, accommodating, easy to work with, but the real one. The one with opinions and limits and needs. The one who has been waiting patiently for decades for you to stop apologizing for existing. That person deserves to be met. By others, yes. But first, by you. The people who matter won't leave because you have limits. They'll stay because you finally have something real to offer. Yourself. That's a person worth knowing.